I'm back, guys. Don't worry, I haven't disappeared. I've just been busy with other things. But that's enough chit chat. Let's get on to the action. Today we are racing at LFM at the Vallelunga circuit. I've only managed to get about 3 races in at this circuit this week because I've been a little bit busy and not at home for the full week. But this one, I felt like I drove really well. This one is a split 2 race and we are starting from P3 on the grid. There are some really quick people in this lobby, especially people behind me. So will I have enough in me to keep them all at bay and hold on to a P3? Let's jump into the race and find out. Okay, so here we are. Like I said, Vallelunga on LFM and the lights are on, although you can't see them. And we're about to launch here, and it's a pretty good launch from me. Didn't get bogged down, and I felt like, you know, we got good traction off the line. But the car behind me is looking a little bit quick. I'm a bit worried here that he's going to come up the inside of me, so I'm going to try and hug the right side of the track here in an attempt to make sure I shut that door firmly in front of him. But we're following P1 and 2 down here. We're going to have a little cheeky look down the inside, maybe try to distract the guy in P2, but he manages to keep it together, and we all file back into almost single file here as we run that down to the next corner. But yeah, the early stages here, may look like I'm going for a lunge. I'm just almost like trying just to play a bit of games with these guys in front of me and try and gauge like whether or not I can distract them, as I got a better run there in front of the Stieglitz in front of me, but I had to back out the throttle because I had the overspeed, so I lost a bit of momentum, a little bit of ground on the leaders. But we're heading now into the final sector of this lap, and 1 to 4 here seem to have broken away a little bit. We're putting a little bit of gap between P5 as we enter the slow section of the lap here. A couple of slow corners that are combined together. So far so good. We're managing to stick with the leaders here, but P4 is right on me here. Green behind me. He's going to be a prominent figure in this video, so make sure you keep an eye on him behind me. But we come round the fast chicane down towards the final corner here. We've managed to hold on to P3 on lap 1, and round the corner we go, trying to get on the power as early as we can without causing the oversteer. It's very easy to oversteer on the exit of that corner, but over the line we go as we start lap number 2 here. We're gonna have about 11 laps around this circuit. 20-minute race as always, will LFM, but we're coming down here to turn number 3 for the second time. The leaders have now put a bit of distance between me, and I've actually gone in a little bit too hot, and I've actually slid it and gone out wide, so that's going to give Green a run on me here as we enter the second straight here. I guess you could call it the back straight, or one of the back straights at least, but we are just marginally ahead at this point, but I'm worried that Green is to my right-hand side here. We're going to give him the space, and it's actually caused me to go out wide, but I'm hoping that I can get on the power a little bit earlier, maybe come back at him, but unfortunately not. So we lose the place to Daniel Green. We're starting to come back at him now as we come down to this very slow corner, but try and keep it on the inside, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get a good enough drive on the exit of the corner. So we're going to take P4 for now. We're going to try and just settle in and have a little look here at how Green drives and see if we can put together a move, as the guy tries to go down the inside here, so I'm giving him space, but he's just driven into the side of me and give me a little bump. So I'm going to go very defensive here on the apex, almost park it on the apex, just to make sure I maintain 4th place. But of course that little battle there has meant that Daniel Green in front of me has managed to extend the gap a little bit, so I'm under pressure from P5 right now, and I've lost ground to the leading 3 here as we round the final corner again to begin lap number 3. And at this point I'm thinking, right, I need to really just try and focus. I need to try and put some distance here between myself and P5 so that I can try and claw back some of this deficit to Green in front. So I'm really starting to kind of focus at this point. The guy behind is very, very close though, so as we turn in there, almost like he was going to go down the inside, but he's run wide and I've kept quite a nice tidy line through there, so it's bought me a little bit of space. Not really gained to the car in front, but we have put a slight distance between myself and the car behind, so a bit more of that, and hopefully we can extend the gap a little bit more, as he almost looks like he's going to lunge down the inside once more. He's a lot more confident on the brakes than I am at this point in the race, and I'm going to be wary of that, so very wary that he might try and lunge one down the inside here, but kind of half-heartedly moves, but there was nowhere really to go as I came across to take the corner on the apex. And P6 is right behind P5 as well, as he's gone a bit wider here. I don't know if he's going to try and lunge down the inside again, as we once again play the defensive game here, making sure we kind of hit those apex and block off any sort of dives down the inside from the car behind. All the time though, we are managing to keep Green in front at a pretty stable distance here. He's on the back of P2 and P1 is starting to stretch the legs a little bit and get a little bit of a distance between the chasing pack here, as we get a pretty good exit here, and we're now starting to pull a gap here to P5 behind us as we go on to lap number 4 here. I'm sort of hoping at this point as well that P6 will close the gap to P5 and they'll start having a little bit of a battle. That'll obviously give me a little bit of breathing space if they're sort of locked into a battle, and you know, they'll be worried about it. So once again, as I did on lap number 2, kind of get a little bit out of shape there. And P5 behind me has actually completely lost it on the corner, so now I have got a nice bit of breathing room behind, and the top 5 now have got a relatively good gap to the rest of the pack. But my entry into turn 3 has needs some work at this point. But now that I've got that bit of breathing room, I'm thinking to myself, right, okay, we can sort of focus more now on our braking and our turning point, as P5 goes for a bit of a lunge there, but backs out of it and goes wide, and the gap sort of stabilizes once again back to what it was. There are a few corners on this track where I feel like I am relatively slow in comparison to my competitors, as we go very, very wide there. But it allows us to get on the power really early, so we're able to not lose too much time. But yeah, there are some corners where I struggle against my competitors, and you'll see from time to time I'm not too bad on the bottom half of the lap and up to the first corner, the first long corner, turn 3. But in between turn 3 and this, the start of this slow section, I'm really sort of losing time to the cars in front and behind. So like I said, I've not had a lot of time this week to practice this track, so the very fact that we're running at the minute in P4, I think is a pretty good achievement in this one. Like I said, split 2 race, and we were actually marked as 4th quickest in the lobby, as Green now looking like he's going to be having a move here on P2. P2 goes defensive on the inside, and Green goes for a bit of a cutback, but almost looks like he had to get out of the throttle there to avoid contact. But this is what I kind of want. I want these two to battle in front of me in the hope that it will bring me back towards them. So I'm just trying to focus. I'm trying to do the best entries and exits that I can in the hope that, they're going to slow each other up. So we get a little bit of understeer mid-corner there, but managed to kind of correct it and get on the power on the exit and get a good rotation on the second half of the corner. And this is where I really kind of, the car behind really closes the gap here, as you can see. Much later on the brakes than I was, but you see the gap in front though is coming down to Green. We're a lot closer now to the car in front. I think the gap at this point was down to about 1 second. It had gone up to about 2.5 at the biggest point in this early section of the race. A little bit later on the brakes there than the cars in front, in the hope that I can kind of claw back some time. but it did cause me to have a bit of understeer, unfortunately, so I didn't get the best run as we didn't really get a great turn into that corner, and that's allowed the cars in front now to kind of extend that lead again, whereas the car behind me has closed the gap and sticking with me. But P1 is running away, but 2 and 3 are still within reach here. So we're coming up to lap 6, halfway point of the race. As I said, it's going to be an 11 lap race here. And yeah, as you can see, I've really lost a lot of time here to P2 and 3 in front. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, maybe they've got the pace on me here, and I need to kind of actually focus on keeping myself clean so that I can then keep defending from the guy behind, because like I said, the second half of the track he's a lot better on the brakes. So yeah, just focusing, trying to drive the best laps that I can as we get a bit of on the brakes there, a bit of oversteer into the corner, but luckily we didn't lose too much time. I'm sure that's going to close back up again as we enter this corner here. Although I'm like losing time to the car behind and not really gaining at this point at the cars in front, I was doing like my best laps of the week here. I was in the mid to low 52s, which is the best laps I've done around here all week. So although I'm kind of making mistakes, I am managing to keep the pace down and really work on the pace as we make a bit of a mistake there into the slow corner, and we had to really put some extra steering lock onto the car to actually get around there, as Green in front of us got a little bit of a slide on and we go a bit wide. He's kind of dropped back a bit here from P2, so he gets another little slide on the exit there. I saw that and I was kind of, okay, this might be the opportunity now to kind of try and get back here at Green. I can see visually that the gap has come down and that he's lost that like the back of P2. So now I'm thinking, okay, let's really focus now. Come on, we need some good entries, some good exits. We come down to turn 3 here, looking for my braking point. We're a little bit later than Green did there, and a good entry and on the power nice and early. Tighter line than Green as we catch a bit of curb though on the exit, which kind of unbalances the car a little bit. But we're still about the same distance here to Green. Haven't lost any time at this point. I'm really starting to feel confident now that I can reel this guy in. I had to delay the throttle there, unfortunately, though, because we had a bit too much steering angle, and I was worried that it was going to get the oversteer. But at this point, I'm really trying to kind of brake a little bit later than Green does to like try and get that extra few tenths to gain up to him. But all the time, while I'm like really focusing on the car in front, the guy behind me is closing the gap as well. I'm trying desperately here not to look in my rear view mirror as I go a little bit wide and he has a little look down the inside. But I managed to get to the apex and cover him off. To do here, I was kind of thinking, right, he's probably going to try and go down the inside again, so I go on the apex. And we've lost a bit of time now, though, to Green. We've been defending to the guy behind. But one thing that I've like been really working on in the last couple of weeks is not paying too much attention to that rear view mirror, and I've even thought about like turning it off as the guy behind me gets a little snap of oversteer and unbalances his car. But yeah, obviously I want to see what's going on behind me, but I'm trying like not to look at it. I'm trying to focus on what is going on in front of me, and I feel like it's you can get like too bogged down with the guy behind me. And I think sometimes for me, if I'm looking at what's going on behind me, and they make like a half move, in my head I'm kind of thinking, okay, I've got to leave them space, when you know, they're not necessarily entitled to the space. You know, I'm the car in front, and unless they are alongside me, then it's my corner and my apex, and ultimately if they were to, within reason of course, if they were to go into me, it would be on them. So yeah, I've been trying really hard to focus on in front and not behind. So we go really late on the brakes there to try and close the gap a little bit to Green in front, but all that did is made me go wide and lose a bit of time. But yeah, midway through lap 8 here, after that little bit of waffling by me, and green goes really wide there, and we are really closing the gap up here. So we are right on the back now of green, and I'm thinking, right, we need to try and keep this now. This is the best opportunity we have as we go for a little look up the inside. I wasn't going for the move. Again, I was just pulling to the inside just to see whether or not we can distract him and make him, force him into a mistake. So go for a tighter line here into this slow corner. And the guy behind us, unfortunately, got on the curb and lost the car a little bit. So that's given me the breathing room now behind. So now I can fully focus on the car in front as we head down to the final corner here. And I'm going to get a much better run here than green through the final corner as we come over the start-finish straight here to start lap number 9 with 3 laps to go here. And yeah, I feel like we're in the draft here. We're gaining little by little. You can kind of see visually we are really closing the gap here, and this is my best opportunity. So I'm pulling alongside here. He's going to go defensive on the inside, so I've kind of got to give him the space, go a little bit wide, but try and get on the power nice and early. And I had to just lift ever so slightly there because he really positioned his car really well on the apex of that really fast corner there. But we're now pulling alongside, and we're giving the space. Going to try and hold on around the outside, so we've got to keep a very tight line here on the inside, get on the power nice and early. But he's still there, he's still on the left, so we're going to go down to the next corner, and he's on the inside. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try and do a bit of a switch back here, and he goes a little bit deep, gets a little bit of a twitch on the back end, a bit of oversteer, and that's going to allow me now to drive past him and take P3 in this race. But unfortunately, after the car behind, the black car, who's like right behind me again now, he made the mistake on the previous lap, and we managed to buy ourselves a bit of time. Me battling there with green, unfortunately, has brought him right back into it. So the gap now is about what it's been for the whole of the race now. So I haven't got anybody to worry about in front. There's a bit of a gap behind, but with 2 laps to go, I just really want to kind of look ahead and focus and just try and maintain this gap. There's only 2 laps we've got to hold on for. But I'm hoping also that green will come back at this guy and they'll have a little bit of a battle and buy me that extra bit of space. But we're back to where we started on the P3. P2 has completely bolted, so unless P2 makes a bit of a mistake, I don't think we're going to better our position here. And going to try and get a nice tidy line, tidy drive through this fast corner here. And we haven't really lost too much time. And having said about P2 making a mistake, he has indeed made a mistake. As you can see, we are within like 2 or 3 seconds again now of P2. Unfortunately, we're not close enough though to capitalize on that mistake. But yeah, had we have been a little bit closer, dare I even say, had we not been battling for so long, maybe we would have been able to capitalize there on the guy in front. But I'm focusing on my race here. P3 would be a massive achievement in this race, a podium. As we go into slow corner, you can actually take a very wide line here. You can go quite far out onto the right over the curb, and you're still within track limits. But once again though, I felt like the guy behind has a much better run through that corner, so it is kind of making me nervous at this point, as he's being a little bit more daring on the brakes here. I feel really going into these corners and really bringing that gap down as he takes a wide line here to try and get a better run out of me. I had a really terrible tight run there. I went really tight on the corner, didn't really get a good rotation there at all, as we're through the fast chicane for the penultimate time, and we're going to come around the corner here to start the final lap. The gap, as you can see behind me, is very close. It's within about half a second right now, so I really need a great exit out of this final corner. And I wouldn't say it's fantastic because I'm not really pulling away at this point. We're probably pulling like a few hundredths of a second here, maybe a little bit more as we head down to turn 3. but we're through the chicane, and we need a nice tidy line here through turn number 3. It's not a bad line. We do drift wide though onto the curb, and that might allow the guy to think about having a run on us down here into the next corner. But looking in the mirror, he's not really gaining on me. So we've got just over half a lap now to go to hang on to P3 as we come down to the corner. Can we get a good braking spot here? The nice corner, there was no understeer there, and I was able to get on the power nice and early. But the guy behind me has had a better run through that corner, and I know now that this guy is really good on this corner. So I'm thinking, okay, hug the apex, get as close to apex as you can, and then nice and early on the power, try and get that drive out of the corner. But he is even closer to me now, and I'm thinking, right, it's the last lap. He is going to lunge this, so I'm going to defend the inside here, and we are going to keep on that apex. We are going to close the door. He's going to look to the inside, but no, I'm going to shut the door on the inside, and I'm going to defend the apex. I'm going to take a really tight line, park it almost on the apex on this defensive move here as we enter the fast chicane for the final time. It looks like we are going to be able to hang on to a P3 here through the chicane. He is right on my tail here as we come to the final corner. And once again, I'm just going to try and get on that apex and almost nice and steady line. He's on the apex as well, so knowing full well I am there, I know he cannot get past me. And we are going to come across the line and take a podium as he gives me a little flash to say, well done, well raced. And it was a really good race indeed. I really enjoyed that one. But what a race. A P3. I am really happy with that one. So let's take a look at the results. We finish in P3, gaining 78 elo, taking us up to 1680. Our safety rating improves by 0.15, putting us into the A2 safety class with a safety rating of 8.94. We had 4 incident points, and we gained 137 championship points, which is our best score this week. Our fastest lap was a 1:52.569. So there we go, guys. That was the race. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did racing that one. Like I said, because I haven't been here this week, I felt at a bit of a disadvantage on a few of the races I have raced in. However, I was able to hold my own in this split 2 race, and we had some good, clean, fair racing, which also included, in what I believe was some really good defensive driving from myself to hang on the final lap to take the podium finish. If you want to get involved in the racing on LFM, the link is down below in the description. Make sure you check it out. And if you did like this video, why not give it a like? And if you want to see more racing from me, hit that subscribe button as I embark on my journey to become a better sim racer. All that's left for me to say, though, guys, is thank you very much for watching. And until the next time, see ya.